The string lights twinkled above the rooftop terrace of the Crest, a sleek venue overlooking the skyline of Crest Haven, a bustling mid-sized city where I'd carved out my life. I'm Elise Morgan, 28, an architect with a knack for turning blueprints into reality. Tonight, though, wasn't about work, it was about love. My boyfriend of 3 years, Caleb, stood beside me, his hand warm against mine as we mingled with guests at our engagement party. After months of planning, everything felt right. The clink of champagne glasses, the hum of jazz from a live quartet, the crisp October air carrying laughter. In 4 months, we'd be married, building a future on the foundation of trust we'd laid together. Caleb and I met at a community design charrette, bonding over sketches and shared dreams. He was steady, a structural engineer with a quiet humor that balanced my intensity. Our guests, friends, colleagues, his warm parents, my scattered cousins, filled the terrace with smiles. My own family was there, too, though their presence felt like a blueprint with missing lines. My parents, Diane and Roger Morgan, sat near the bar, their expressions polite but distant. My older brother, Trevor, leaned against a railing, nursing a beer, his eyes scanning the crowd like he'd rather be anywhere else. We'd never been tight. He was always the golden child, coasting on charm while I worked for every inch. I pushed the thought aside, focusing on Caleb's arm around me. The night was perfect until Diane stood, tapping her glass with a spoon. The chatter hushed, heads turning. "I'd like to say a few words," she began, her voice smooth but sharp, like a blade wrapped in silk. "To Elise and Caleb, congratulations on your engagement. May your life together be filled with joy." Glasses rose, and I smiled, squeezing Caleb's hand. But Diane's eyes narrowed, her smile fading. "I also have an announcement. After discussing it with Roger, we've decided to transfer Elise's $50,000 trust fund to Trevor." The words hit like a collapsing scaffold. The terrace went silent, save for a distant car horn below. My trust fund, money I'd been promised since I was 18, held in my name for my future, was mine. I'd planned our wedding around it, budgeted carefully, even earmarked some for a home. I laughed, a reflex to break the tension. "Mom, that's a weird joke," I said, scanning for a smirk. None came. "It's not a joke, Elise," Diane said, her tone ice cold. "Trevor's launching his business. He needs it more than you do." Heat flooded my face. "That's my money," I said, voice steady but rising. "It's in my account. For my wedding. Our house." Trevor straightened, smirking. "Don't be greedy, Elise. You've got a fancy job. I'm starting from scratch." "Greedy?" I stepped forward, heart pounding. "I've saved, planned, worked for everything. You've had handouts your whole life." Diane's face tightened. "Elise, you're being dramatic. Trevor deserves a chance." Caleb's hand touched my shoulder, grounding me, but I couldn't stop. "Deserves? He's blown every opportunity you've given him. That money's mine." The argument spiraled, voices overlapping until Diane's hand cracked across my cheek. The slap echoed like a snapped beam. Pain flared, but shock hit harder. Guests froze. Trevor's smirk vanished. Caleb pulled me close, his jaw tight. Before I could speak, a bartender's voice cut through, low and urgent, on a phone. "Yes, police? There's been an assault at the Crest." Sirens wailed in the distance within minutes. I stood, cheek throbbing, as 2 officers stepped onto the terrace. They asked if I was the one struck. I nodded, voice low. "Yes." Diane tried to wave it off as family business, but the officer's face was stone. "Assault's assault, ma'am." They asked if I wanted to press charges. I glanced at Caleb, his eyes steady, then back at Diane's defiant stare. "Yes," I said, clear and final. As they cuffed Diane, the terrace stayed quiet, guests staring at their shoes. Trevor slipped away, avoiding my gaze. Caleb held my hand, a silent promise. Tonight was supposed to be about love, but it had cracked open something else, a fight I didn't see coming. The night of the engagement party clung to me like damp concrete. Back in our Crest Haven loft, I sat on the couch, cheeks still stinging from Diane's slap. Caleb brewed tea, his calm presence a counterweight to the chaos. The $50,000 trust fund, my safety net for our wedding and future home, was now a battleground. Diane's words, "Trevor needs it more," echoed, each syllable a chisel cracking my trust. Caleb handed me a mug. "You did the right thing, pressing charges." I nodded, but guilt gnawed. Was I too harsh? The police had released Diane on bail by morning, but her silence, and Trevor's, felt louder than sirens. Roger called once, mumbling about sorting it out, then went quiet. Social media buzzed with vague posts from cousins, none daring to ask me directly. Weeks later, we stood in Crest Haven's courthouse, a stark box of a building. Diane faced a misdemeanor assault charge. I sat beside Caleb, heart thudding as the judge reviewed witness statements and terrace security footage. The slap played in my mind. Sharp, public, final. Diane's lawyer argued it was a family dispute, but the judge's voice was firm. Family doesn't excuse violence. Diane got a $1,500 fine, 40 hours of community service, and 3 months probation. No jail, but her eyes avoided mine. In the hallway, I faced her. "Why?" I asked, voice low. She stiffened, lips tight, then walked away. Trevor wasn't there. Roger trailed her, head down. Caleb squeezed my hand. "You're stronger than this," he said. I wanted to believe him, but the fracture in my family felt permanent, and the real storm, Trevor's claim to my fund, loomed ahead. The envelope he handed me, stiff, from Kessler and Lee Legal, felt like a trap. Inside, a notice. Diane and Roger were suing me for the $50,000 trust fund, claiming it was for educational use only, and I'd misused it. I stared, disbelieving. That money, gifted at 18, was mine at 21, no strings. I'd used part for college, covered the rest with loans, and saved it for my wedding and a home. Flashbacks hit. Trevor's endless ventures, a failed food truck, a crypto scheme, funded by my parents' generosity. Me? I'd clawed through scholarships, late nights, to build a career. Now they wanted my future to prop up his latest gamble. I called Caleb, voice shaking. "They're rewriting history," I said. He came home, steady as ever, and we scoured the documents. I hired Lena Voss, an attorney with a razor-sharp calm. Over coffee, she reviewed my trust papers. "Elise, this is yours. No restrictions. Their claim's a bluff. Verbal agreements don't hold up." Relief hit, then anger. "Why do this?" I asked. Lena's eyes softened. "Some parents can't admit they've favored one kid. They'll twist reality to justify it." The lawsuit's weight settled in. Wedding plans, venue deposits, catering, stalled as I braced for costs. At night, I'd lie awake, mapping the unfairness. Trevor's smirk at the party, Diane's slap, Roger's silence. Caleb held me, promising we'd fight. But seeing my parents' names on that legal notice wasn't just a claim on money. It was a blueprint of favoritism, drawn long before I knew to look. The Crest Haven courthouse loomed like a misdrawn plan, its gray walls closing in as I entered. My attorney, Lena Voss, prepped me for today's hearing, but facing my parents and Trevor across the room felt like sketching on cracked glass. Their eyes dodged mine, Trevor slouching, Diane rigid, Roger blank. Lena called Trevor to testify. He claimed the fund had strict rules, his voice slick with confidence. Lena didn't flinch. "Mr. Morgan, did you use your own trust fund solely for education?" Trevor shifted. "Mostly," she pressed. "You dropped out after a year, correct? Spent it on a food truck business and cryptocurrency trades." His face reddened. "That's different." Lena smiled thinly. "How? If the rules were so strict, why face no consequences?" The room stilled. Diane's jaw tightened. Roger stared at the floor. Lena presented my records, college payments, savings, no breaches. Their case crumbled, built on lies to mask Trevor's failures. The judge's frown said enough. Outside, Lena whispered, "We're close to ending this." But victory felt hollow. My designs at work faltered, wedding plans froze, and legal fees ate my savings. Nights blurred into tears, Caleb's arms my only anchor. In a later hearing, Trevor's smugness returned, claiming I'd hoarded the money. Lena countered with bank statements showing my discipline versus his spending. Each session carved deeper. Diane's cold stare, Trevor's deflections. Caleb squeezed my hand, promising our future. One evening, my phone buzzed with a text from my cousin. "Lila, heard the wedding's off? So sorry." I froze. Caleb and I were solid, planning despite the legal drain. Calls followed. Friends, colleagues, asking why I'd canceled. Then I found it. Fake emails, sent from an address mimicking mine, claiming Caleb cheated and the wedding was scrapped. My stomach sank. Caleb showed me messages he'd gotten. Blurry photos, my face clumsily photoshopped onto a woman hugging some stranger. "Trevor sent these," he said, jaw tight. "Said you're unfaithful." Rage mixed with hurt. I called my aunt, Clara, the only relative still neutral. She sighed. "Diane's been telling people you're spiraling, Elise. That Caleb's no good. She's painting Trevor as the victim." The betrayal cut deeper than the lawsuit. My parents weren't just after my $50,000. They wanted to wreck my joy. Clara admitted Diane framed me as unstable to justify their bias. I pictured Trevor's smirk, Diane's cold eyes. This was personal. Caleb and I met with our wedding planner that night, hiring security for the venue. "No one gets in without clearance," I said, naming Diane, Roger, Trevor. Caleb nodded, anger flashing. "They won't touch our day." Sleep evaded me, my mind tracing their lies. Fake emails, doctored photos, whispers to relatives. Work suffered. My community center design sat unfinished. Caleb held me as I vented, his calm voice promising we'd outlast this. But fear not. What else could they ruin? Security was a shield, but the real damage was trust, fractured beyond repair. As our wedding neared, I braced for their next move, knowing love was worth defending, even if it meant barring my own family. The morning of my wedding dawned bright, Cresthaven's hills framing our venue, a garden estate with ivy-draped arches. I'm standing in a bridal suite, my dress soft against my skin. Joy battled dread. Diane, Roger, and Trevor's sabotage loomed. Caleb and I had hired 2 guards, their radios crackling outside. I adjusted my veil, nerves tight, picturing our vows under the oak canopy, white chairs fanned across the lawn. At 1:30, a guard knocked. "Ms. Morgan, we stopped a man at the side gate. Matches your brother's photo." Trevor had a bag, spray paint cans inside. My heart lurched. Paint to ruin my dress, the decor, our day. Was he alone? I asked. "Yes," the guard said. "We've got him detained." I exhaled, imagining Trevor's plan, defacing what we'd built. "Do you want charges filed?" the guard pressed. I paused. Today was for love, not revenge. "No, just remove him. Ensure my parents aren't here." The guard nodded, leaving. My maid of honor, Nora, hugged me. "You're stronger than them." I steadied myself, tears held back. Uncle Neil, my dad's quiet brother, walked me down the aisle. Caleb stood under the arch, eyes warm, grounding me. The world faded. Lawsuit, lies, paint cans gone. We vowed resilience, partnership, love. Guests cheered as we kissed, sunlight breaking through clouds. The reception sparkled, laughter, toasts, Nora's speech about our fight for this moment. No family drama breached our walls. A cousin whispered, "You did right, Elise." Caleb and I danced, his hand steady in mine. Trevor's attempt had failed. My parents hadn't dared show. As we cut the cake, I felt it, freedom. This day, flawless in its simplicity, was ours, built on truth, not their chaos. Love had won. Caleb and I escaped to a coastal village for our honeymoon. Cresthaven's chaos, a distant memory. 3 weeks of salt air, quiet dinners, and walks on pebbled shores rebuilt me. Back home, we moved into our new condo. The space was ours, hardwood floors, blank walls we'd fill with dreams. We hung shelves, laughing over wobbly screws, the lawsuit's shadow fading. One Sunday, I bumped into my cousin Lila at a Cresthaven market. After a hug, she hesitated. Heard about Trevor's launch party? I raised an eyebrow. We don't talk. She nodded. Your parents took a huge loan for it. Big venue. Imported liquor, the works. But half the family didn't show. I smirked, unsurprised. Trevor's business, some vague app, sounded like another flop. They're drowning in debt, Lila added. People haven't forgotten how they treated you. I shrugged, buying apples. They made their choice. No invitation to Trevor's event had come, nor did I want one. His spray paint stunt still stung. At home, Caleb and I painted our condo's accent wall a soft blue. This is us, he said, brushing my hand. Work picked up. My community center design won praise, lines sharp again. Holidays loomed, but no calls came from Diane, Roger, or Trevor. Their absence ached less now. I told Caleb over coffee, we're building something real. He grinned. Always have. Trevor's party, I later heard, was a hollow flex. Overblown, underattended, their loan a public weight. My victory wasn't their fall, but this, a home, love, stability. I'd fought for it, and every nail in our walls proved I'd won. Months after the wedding, Cresthaven's rhythm soothed me. Holidays passed quietly. No cards from Diane, Roger, or Trevor. My birthday came, the first without Mom's call. It hurt, but clarity followed. I'm done chasing their approval. The slap, lawsuit, fake emails, spray paint. They tried to erase me. I stood firm, and that was enough. At work, my designs soared. The community center broke ground. At home, Caleb and I framed wedding photos, our laughter filling the space. One evening, my Aunt Clara called. Trevor's app tanked, she said. Your parents are scrambling. Loan payments are crushing them. I nodded, unsurprised. Gossip spread. Relatives distanced themselves, ashamed of Diane's lies, Roger's silence, Trevor's stunts. Their world shrank, a consequence of their own blueprint. I sipped wine, reflecting. Family isn't just blood. It's Nora's toast at our wedding. Uncle Neil walking me down the aisle, Lila's honesty. Caleb asked once if I'd reconcile. Maybe, I said. But they'd need to change, not just apologize. I doubted it. Diane's pride, Roger's passivity, Trevor's entitlement. They'd built that, not me. One Saturday, we hosted Nora for dinner. Over pasta, she raised a glass. To Elise, who didn't break. I smiled, eyes misty. The condo's walls held our story, shelves we'd hung, plans we'd drawn. I hadn't just survived, I designed a future. Diane, Roger, Trevor faded, their chaos a blueprint I'd never follow. With Caleb's hand in mine, I knew family was here. Chosen, steady, real. I'd built it myself, and it would last. Please rate the story on a scale of 1 to 10. Let us know, what do you think? Your support means the world, and we can't wait to bring you more incredible stories like this.